Hey, what's going on? Mike Sparacino here, back with Pucks and Brews, episode 3, joined as usual by the goon Brendan Mulroy and Woj Brandon Wojno. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you, kid?
Terrible.
Are you doing terrible? Why?
Just
Not a good
snow
brew tonight?
outside. Yeah, I'm drinking twisted tea like a loser.
Huh.
It's snowing out.
Wosh had the shovel I heard earlier too.
Yeah. I didn't even shovel my own house today. I shoveled work, and it's fun.
I shoveled literally like the front half of our stoop. That was it. I got up mad late. Too much snow,
Kid gets
bro.
up
Wait,
at,
how
kid
late?
gets up at
Like
kid
4
gets up at
p.m.
kid probably got up at like 1 to 2 p.m. easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
This kid.
Hey, at least I actually tried going to bed at a normal time last night.
What
Unlike
time was that?
like 10.
Oh,
kid
you
texted
should
me
just
at
get some
5 o'clock.
melatonin.
This kid texted me at 5 o'clock in the morning, dude.
Well,
He
that was
probably
yesterday.
up till then.
That was
No,
yesterday, not today.
that was this morning.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. I got the
Oh.
text to prove
I
it.
trust Brendan. He's up at normal hours.
hell?
I'm not sure about.
No, yesterday.
Maybe it was yesterday.
Dude, can you see? Yesterday.
Is that a dick pic?
All right.
Yesterday. My dad is literally shoveling right now. Yesterday.
Dude, your finger looks brutal. Get from up close in the camera.
All right, I think we should just start this shit again.
No, this is great.
That went way
I
off
want to hear
track.
this.
That went way off track.
People want to hear
My
this.
webcam is being a pain in the ass and not focusing now. Oh, this is fantastic.
All right.
So,
yeah.
sorry you guys had to see my finger, but I'm just going to refocus this real quick. If you are listening and you enjoy a brew here and there, crack one open right now and listen to some hockey talk. That's the rule of the podcast. At least one person on the on the panel, as my
Mostly
webcam
Woj.
still isn't focused.
Well,
Mostly
I was
Woj
gonna-
has to enjoy a brew during recording. And dude, my webcam does not want to focus right now.
It'll work itself out. I was gonna have coffee today because I'm tired of shit, but I just didn't make it. And there was a beer in my fridge, so it took it.
I almost had coffee, but then I was just like, nah. So
Yeah, you don't want to be up until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, he's gonna be up anyway. Might as well enjoy coffee. Fuck it, dude.
Knowing me, I might be up until 4 a.m.
Up there you go,
tonight or
Shades. You're
tomorrow.
back.
So yeah, my webcam's back. So let's dive. It definitely has not been a dull week in Rangers news, unfortunately. But Tony DeAngelo, Dunzo, placed on waivers, gets passed through waivers after an incident in after the game against Pittsburgh on Saturday? On Saturday, and yeah, he's played his last game with the Rangers. Obviously, there's a lot of crap that leaked out, most of it false. What is true was told, but what do you guys think? Give me your thoughts here.
Woj, you want to start us off?
We said Tony D and then Dunzo. I thought that was like an Italian jab.
No,
But anyway,
that's just how I felt like saying it.
yeah. No, I was gonna say like it's not because of politics, it's not what he tweets about because they don't give a shit. They don't care.
Well, he
it's
also
like any job.
deactivated his Twitter.
Well, yeah, they want him to like stop like being like a nuisance, but they just because they know he's gonna get into some shit if he stays on there. So that's just like to protect him. But like I don't think he really ever said anything that bad on Twitter. I might just be biased, but
No, recently
I don't think
he didn't.
oh yeah, but I don't think he's been like a bad teammate. A lot of the guys do like him. I think he's just been frustrated with getting cut and not cut, benched because he couldn't deal with that. But I think it's just a bad moment for him, and he just kind of lost it and went off on Georgiev.
Brendan?
Yeah. I mean, just to add to that, Woj, like, I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't have any, like, I'm not mad that he went at Georgiev, to be honest. Like,
No.
This is teammates. Like, they're they lost the game. Obviously, he was frustrated, but, when you learn more about it and with that press conference with JD and Gordon, Gordon kind of told him, hey, listen, you have one last strike here, and that's it. So I think, he's kind of just being, a man of his word here. And unfortunately, Tony D is not on the Rangers anymore, sucks.
Yes.
I wish, obviously I liked his game last year. And even though he had a rough start, I thought he was going to rebound if he played more. But, you know, you learn more from Gordon too. And he's saying that he could never really get over that he got scratched in the second game. And, you know, I feel like right now Quinn's kind of style too is he's kind of just playing like who's better.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that's kind of, I feel like would happen here. You know, I don't know. It sucks, but especially because we just signed him, and you know, obviously that was he was one of our free agents in the offseason. That was like, and I think everybody kind of wanted to re-sign him, especially after the year he had last year. So to then re-sign him, which I thought we got him at a pretty good bargain. Thank God we only signed him for 2 years, I guess, in this case. But we'll see. Apparently, you know, possible trade in the works, and you know, hopefully he gets somewhere, can still play.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you said, JD John Davidson even said it himself. Like he got in his own way yet again, and this time it cost him dearly. But yeah, also JD, like he said again about the rumor crap that wasn't true. But I just want to say that this is from reading Rick Carpinello's article, and he said he got confirmed from sources on the team that when the altercation happened after that Pittsburgh game, 1, Georgiev threw the first punch. 2, Georgiev had him in a headlock. To me, I don't know why, but I found that funny. But that's just.
But he's Russian, dude. You can't fuck with Russians. Man.
Yeah.
And 3, Kreider and or Trouba, neither one of them threw a punch. That rumor was false. But Keandre Miller, apparently, this was also confirmed. He had a major role in breaking the altercation apart, which, hey, good for him. Good for a rookie stepping up. And
also, I'm pretty sure this is also true as well, that apparently Miller had reached out to DeAngelo like text message too, which, I mean, to me, that shows early on, yeah, this kid's got potential to be a leader in the locker room for sure. And I mean, obviously we see how, even though these last 4 games have been kind of rough, but he's been the bright spot, I would say, in at least the last couple games.
Yeah, no, even Quinn said like DeAngelo was a liked teammate within the room. It's just
that's where it gets. That's the funny thing too. Is like it's kind of interesting. It's like he's liked by his teammates, but it's almost like, I'm not saying that the management didn't like him. I think they're just kind of tired of having to deal with the shit, and I think it's mostly just bad negative media press too is not helping the case. It's just starting to get annoying because anytime, you know, we play bad now or something before, it's just going to come down to that. Like, oh, even if it has nothing to do with that, it's this, oh, the Ranger locker room drama is causing them to lose. And it's might not necessarily be the case.
That happened. So,
well, it could be a big win for us.
Yeah, it definitely helped. I was going to say also, like the last thing, I don't think it's that big of a deal that it was a fight. That happened, 2 years ago in St. Louis? They fought in practice, Zach Sanford and somebody else.
Dude, it just happened in the offseason too with the Devils, with Wood and PK Subban going after each other in the camp. And exactly. And I think it could have been an interesting time. Like, I almost wish we could have saw it play out just to see if they could have gotten through it, and it could have been possibly a positive thing for DeAngelo. Maybe you could have seen him grow up a little bit in this case, but I think the Rangers have just had enough of. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. I think Gordon's just being a man of his word at this point, even though he knows it might not necessarily be, you know, the best move in terms of hockey for the club, but
I think I also do think a lot of it's blown out of proportion, or like it's just talked about so much within Rangers Twitter and stuff. I don't know if that has an effect, but I mean, he wasn't his last straw, but you know, I don't think he was that much of an issue within the room. I mean, they even said it. Everyone liked him on the team. So, but yeah, it had to happen at one point. It wasn't getting any better, and they really cut him based off of his play. And it's 7 games in, you haven't really done anything, or 10 games in, whatever it is, and you haven't done what you were supposed to do since last year. And you know, that's it. Something needs to change. So,
Yeah, his point productions obviously hasn't been anywhere near the same, but I guess I would be kind of pissed too if I was getting scratched for Jack
Oh,
Johnson.
Yeah, that's bad.
after that year I had
And
last year.
last thing we can move on, but they already said, I think Rick tweeted it, that there's suddenly a league-wide interest in Tony DeAngelo in a trade coming up in the next few days.
Possibly. I just want to piggyback off of one thing Brendan said earlier. It's like, yeah, we signed him to that 2-year deal. I'm like, it kind of was a bargain. We signed it like he was coming off a 56-point season that got shortened by the pandemic. There was on ice value there. And to get him at the price we did for what he did last season, I mean, it's good value.
Hey, look, if he goes to Columbus, Torts is going to whip him right into shape. Like,
you would hope.
And to be honest with you too, is
bullshit.
You would hope so.
And to be honest too, it's like it's hard to say like, oh yeah, like had we known, we could have just traded him. It's like obviously we didn't know this shit was gonna happen. Obviously they would have traded him. Like they signed him at good value, hoping that he could bring what he brought last year. But I mean, he has been on multiple teams now at this point. So I guess his past probably doesn't help his case either. But
yeah, Gordon even said like they were like he flat out basically admitted they were shopping him. It's just they didn't get an offer that they thought was good enough. And you like as a general manager, you're not gonna just trade somebody just to trade them. You got to get some type of value back.
Yeah, I mean if you're another GM now in this case trying to make a trade for DeAngelo, which is interesting because they could have just claimed him off of waivers for the value. So I guess my guess would be, oh, okay, maybe now they're going to try to make a trade and maybe they can get another piece or maybe the Rangers could possibly retain some of the salary, even though it's not a bad deal. But I think people are like,
not at all.
Other teams' GMs at this point are like, okay, well, the ball's kind of in our court. We have all the leverage in this trade situation because if we don't trade for him, the Rangers are just stuck with him. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, you got nothing to say, Watch? I thought you were saying.
No. I think that's pretty much it. I think we touched on it a lot.
And just to finish talking about the Rangers off ice news, assistant general manager Chris Drury got interviewed for the vacant Pittsburgh Penguins GM job. So we'll see what happens with that. I saw something earlier. I don't know how true it is, but I just saw like apparently he's on the short list of candidates. So like I said, we'll see what happens.
I thought he would have gotten that last one that opened up. I forgot who it was with, but I mean, he'll definitely get a good shot at it. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and joins Pittsburgh.
Yeah, man. For what you're reading about that story too, it just seemed like it was kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing. Like I think even Mario Lemieux was really caught off guard in the ownership of Pittsburgh. They didn't expect that move.
Did you try trading Letang? Is that what it was? I thought
there's a lot of rumors.
Unless it was fake.
There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors going around apparently that apparently they were trying to make like a bigger trade and possibly some like a bigger name and possibly even like a Malkin or a Crosby getting moved. Which I don't think they would ever trade Crosby, but Malkin possibly, considering he hasn't gotten off to the best start this season, but he still looks like playing them recently. At least I even thought yesterday, like he looked like he was skating good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll start tearing it up if he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, I'd give my 2 cents on this, but I literally just did not research the topic at all because I was.
That's all I know. That's all I know about that particular situation in Pittsburgh. It was kind of like a spur of the moment. Apparently, he wanted to make some sort of trade, and apparently they weren't giving him the okay on it, and then he just decided to quit. That was it.
Yeah.
But he's also made some kind of questionable trades recently, and I think that kind of added to it.
Questionable is an understatement, but. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the 4 Rangers games that have passed since we last recorded. 2 games against Buffalo, 2 games against Pittsburgh. Let's dive right into the first game against Buffalo. Unfortunate loss, but hey, Keandre Miller first NHL goal.
Yeah, it was a rocket.
Yeah, Shades. There was
damn right it was
that
a
game.
rocket.
That game to me is one of those ones. I'm pulling my notes here for a sec, but to me that's one of those games where it's like. It's frustrating. I felt like Buffalo scored 2 or I think they scored 2 or 3 goals on the power play, and it was literally like they just kept doing the same thing. It was like pass from the wing, open up the middle, cannon from the slot. But the pattern in a lot of these losses too makes it even more frustrating. Is that every loss seems to be by 1 goal, which makes it even worse because it shows that we're playing good games, but just we're not getting the job done. And if I remember correctly too, I'm pretty sure Allmark literally played like the game of his life against us, of course.
I just double checked. There was 2 power play goals.
Yeah, it was 2 power play goals, and just to add on that as well, we were not good on the face-offs either against Buffalo. But the funny thing about Buffalo too is even over the last couple seasons, like ever since they got Eichel, they've been one of the best. I know for a couple seasons, I think even one season they were number 1 in the league in power play. So they've always kind of had like a pretty decent power play. But now with Hall and Eichel and those guys, they actually do have a pretty good power play.
Yeah.
But another game just to add to, I felt like this is another one of those games where we were seeing more from the depth as well, DiGiuseppe and Blackwell, which we'll get into his injury as well, unfortunately. But yeah, not too much to add for that first game, but tough loss. But it was the only benefit to playing in this weird ass COVID-19 schedules that most of the time you end up playing the same team literally about a night or 2 after. So it was nice to get to play them right after again.
Yeah, and that time we actually won. The second game against Buffalo, we actually won. And I'm not going to lie, that game could not have ended on any better of a note. I mean, Alexis Lafreniere, first NHL goal, OT winner. That just felt so good. It felt so good.
Just to add to it too is Blackwell again with another just sick pass. And also, Shades, we forgot to bring this up too, is probably one of the more bigger things that happened in that first game against Buffalo, as well as I'm pretty sure we didn't have Hedel either, right? He didn't get hurt in that game. He got hurt in the Pittsburgh game, but I think we found out before that he'd been out.
Yeah, I know. We brought it up we brought his injury up on last episode, but I don't think we knew the severity yet. It's 3 to. It's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks minimum.
Yeah, it's 4 to 6 weeks. Unfortunately, 4 to 6 weeks. I think that was the report. What was anything you want to add about this next game against Buffalo?
Yeah, I think I wasn't the only person that thought this, and I didn't think it was a bad thing. I thought it was completely fine, but I'm pretty sure everyone on every fan was like, "Why is Keandre Miller out with Blackwell and Lafreniere?"
In the overtime,
steady AHL guy, rookie defenseman who's doing pretty good, and it's kind of right before he started to go off. After that game, he started to get a lot better, in general with his game compared to the first 3 games. And then you have Blackwell, who I think he had 3 points in a row. But just watching that, I was why are these 3 guys on the ice instead of everybody else? Worked out great, but
yeah.
I mean, honestly,
that's one of those things you always question, but then the one time it actually works out, you're just like, okay, not going to say anything.
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm honestly okay with having Blackwell on the ice in those situations, only because he can fly and he can actually get pucks. But just to add too, in that finally, as Shade said before, Lafreniere gets his first goal. Thank God. And to be honest with you, he could have had a hat trick that game, but he couldn't score. He had Rangeritis, as we like to say. But he had how many chances, especially in the third period of that game too. I felt like he was getting robbed. So to see him finally score is nice.
You want to know why he scored? Because I tweeted he can't buy a goal. That's why he scored.
When did you tweet that? What period?
It was either in the second or third period.
It was probably in the third after he got robbed for the 1,500th time of the game.
Hey, I also tweeted the boys are looking good tonight a couple games earlier, and then they ended up blowing that game. So maybe I should just tweet the opposite of what I want happening, and then maybe what we actually want to happen will come true. Who knows?
I'd say I could tweet full time. We probably get suspended.
Possibly.
I did actually see. I did see something that was really interesting. I don't really like the advanced stats. I don't think this is really much of an advanced stat too much,
Yeah,
but it
go
was something
off.
they were showing before the pregame. Just because I felt like this is one of those stats that like kind of is interesting for this season. So this is something that like Valaket had in like the pregame, and he was talking about how the Rangers actually last season, like 5-on-5 in the D zone, we were 18th in giving up, I think, goals or scoring chances, one or the other. And this year we're actually like 5th overall in defense, 5-on-5 in our D zone. I thought that was interesting.
Well, that has a lot to do with the play of Fox Miller and Lindgren. They've been great so far this season.
Yeah, and Jack Johnson. It's been really good.
Woj, I will leave my house right now to come to yours just to
You
slap
don't know
you.
where I live. I live in the hood.
You're right. I don't know where you live. That's a good point.
Yeah. G hood.
But that leads us to the Pittsburgh game, which I guess ended up leading to all the drama afterwards.
Yeah. I mean,
what do
an
you guys
overtime loss.
What happened?
An overtime loss. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
It was an overtime loss, and honestly, you know, it was one of those plays where we basically got trapped out there, and the one chance we kind of had to get the puck out, like Georgiev and DeAngelo ended up having like a miscommunication, and then Crosby ended up getting the puck, and he basically scored a Juniper goal where you just like don't even shoot the puck off the floor, you just shoot it low, and Georgiev didn't make the save. I don't know if it's really on Georgiev. I guess it kind of is. DeAngelo was kind of screening him. I don't really know who you blame in that situation, but either way, yeah, that led to all the drama after. Shades, would you have anything of significance to really add about that Pittsburgh game? It's kind of one of those ones I really want to just forget about.
Well, I mean, they blew another third period lead, which is already becoming a very bad theme so far this season for this team, which kind of sucks.
Especially in the third period.
Yeah, no, which kind of sucks because like we're what? How many years removed now? 6 or 7, where we were literally just untouchable in third periods. Which it kind of sucks to see.
Quite the opposite.
That's the nature of a rebuild right there. Another positive note: Lemieux and Rooney got their first goals of the season. Kreider stayed hot, I should say. He scored for the second out of 3 games, which we need him to score and get going. And yeah, like you said, Georgiev, he did like over the course of that game, he didn't look awful, but he didn't look great either. I personally thought he should have had that OT goal, but I forget whether I read it in an article or whether Valaket mentioned it. It was probably from an Athletic article, but Panarin had a chance like a minute before Pittsburgh scored there. If he scores there, I mean, that confrontation between DeAngelo and Georgiev most likely doesn't happen. And yeah, the things could be very different right now, but what happened. It's in the past. Rangers just got to move on.
Yeah, I think that last play in overtime, I watched it. I didn't watch the overtime, but they were like trapped in the zone for a while, right? Like a good minute.
Yeah, if I remember the times correctly, DeAngelo was out there for like 140 something, and Zibanejad and Panarin were out over 2 minutes.
So this isn't really on Tony, but it's more anytime you're in overtime or like a tight game or something like that, if the goalie is going to make a play, you don't really want to get in his way and force him to hesitate. Because if you do that, he's going to get stuck behind the net or something's going to happen. He'll get tripped up and he won't be able to get out in front to make the save. And then as soon as that happened, he made the play. The puck went up the boards, I think, or it went up to the middle. And then Tony went out and he kind of just looked like he was dragging it out there, which I'm assuming is because he was out there for over a minute and a half. But at that point, he looked like kind of pissed off. He's like, what the fuck? Like, we should have had the puck out by now. But Georgiev jumped in and dumped it out, but didn't clear the zone. So, I mean, you know, it's a tough play, but, you know, it happens. So.
I'm not surprised that there was some sort of like dispute between them. I honestly like that's just frustrating. Like blew another late lead, and I'm thinking too is, you know, Tony DeAngelo's probably thinking like, oh shit, okay, I've already been on the ice for 1 or 2 goals this game minus now this is really just going to hurt me. I might get scratched again. And I think that's probably what his mindset was. I'm only speaking, just thinking about it. I don't know if that was true, but I'm sure that probably played some sort of factor in his head as well. It's probably like, oh shit, you know what? Like, this is probably going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. And he probably said something because he was just pissed. But yeah, like you said, Shades, this trend of blowing the games late is really starting to get aggravating to watch, especially when it's against Pittsburgh. I just want to add though, before they ended up tying that game at 4, it was of course classic. Like Lindgren gets destroyed with a high stick and they miss the call, and then on that Zach face-off they end up scoring to tie it, which is just like always the worst.
Hey, my son Woj rocking the Lindgren jersey.
Also, just classic of Lindgren getting hit with some sort of stick or puck or something.
Yeah,
that's also another
bleeding
trend
everywhere.
Hey,
but we got to talk.
Warrior,
Dude, Lindgren could be like a spokesman for like Tampax with how much he bleeds. What? That was good.
And the worst,
great joke.
That was good.
And the worst part about I was gonna say the worst part about this before going into the next game against Pittsburgh, or last night's game, is then of course we ended up losing Blackwell as well. I'm pretty sure that was in the Pittsburgh game, right? Or did we lose him before?
I forgot exactly which game. See, I take notes, but I forget to do it during games, so I always mix shit up. But I don't remember which.
But obviously, not having him as well plays a bigger impact, because he's been probably one of the better depth forwards that we had, and I really have to say I enjoy watching him, Di Giuseppe, Rooney. At first, I was really like Rooney, like really, and same thing with Di Giuseppe. He was kind of like whatever, but these guys actually really do get to pucks, which is interesting because it's kind of feel like we're always trying to dump and chase, but we're never actually successful at it. But we have been with these guys. So hopefully Blackwell comes back sooner than later. I think he's supposed to be out like 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, and that unfortunately
these AHL guys don't want to go down.
Yeah. No, that unfortunately was not the end of the injury bug, because Brendan Smith, as we all know, he ended up getting hurt in last night's game against Pittsburgh. We're recording on Tuesday, by the way. And that makes him, Blackwell, Hedl. Is that it, or am I missing something? I know Zibanejad got hurt late in the game a few games ago, and Strome ended up tweaking something the other night. So, but
yeah,
I think Strome didn't end up missing a game.
Yeah, I think that's it, Shades. And obviously then with Tony DeAngelo being put on waivers, now we were short another defenseman, so that ended up bringing Potato into the lineup yesterday. And any initial thoughts on his first game?
Woj, I was feeling awful last night during the game, so I couldn't really pay too much attention. I had to look away from the screen like every 30 seconds. So yeah, I had a headache. So
he was all right. Anytime you put on 20, you said this before we recorded. Anytime you put on 22 in a Rangers jersey, you just think Dan Boyle, Kevin Shattenkirk, and Nick Holden, and you're like, holy fuck, this is terrible.
Yeah, not good
company. It was a rough number, so it was enough. It was a rough number selection for the kid.
And then also they had Brzezinski play, I think, the fourth line. He wore 76, and I immediately thought, oh, Brady Shea. Okay. Also, like 1776, cool like set of numbers because it's America. Awful like jersey number. It looks weird.
To be honest, I didn't really notice. I didn't notice anything bad necessarily about him. But it was interesting.
No, he's fine.
I mean, he was on the ice for any goals or anything like that, so I'll take that as a positive. And we ended up winning the game 3-1. So, but it had to be intense for him to just step in that situation and play his first game against the Penguins.
Oh, I also forgot the win against Buffalo. That was Shesty's first win of the season. So he ended up picking up his second one last night against the game against Pittsburgh. So he looked a lot better.
And he definitely looked better last night. I will say, I know that a lot of people are blaming that first goal on Miller, but honestly, like I equally blame that one on Shesty, just because like he really went way too far out of the net to try to make that save. And if he doesn't slide out all the way out of the net on that, he's back to make that save. Even though Miller, he made a rare mistake in that sense, but he made up for it later in the game with just a filthy block in the third period. But he's been next level.
Yeah,
Probably
I
been
saw
our best
something.
defenseman
I saw
besides
some
Fox.
stuff on Twitter where like that goal that Pittsburgh scored there, that was a set play with the shot wide and everything. So that's something to keep an eye on for future games against them. But it has to be brought up again. This was yet another abysmal face-off game for us. Percentage was like 70-30 yet again. But the positives, we were 6 for 6 on the penalty kill, only allowed 7 shots.
Shade, just to add to your point, that really just goes to show you how much we need help in the center position when Brett Howden is basically leading the team in face-off percentage. I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
He is.
Zibanejad, if we're going to get on the topic of centers, I mean, I think he knows already, but he definitely needs to step it up for sure. He's been kind of, I don't know. He hasn't been himself. I know he had COVID
he's only got 2
off-season.
points. I just checked, like right before we started recording.
And that's the hilarious thing too, is like, even if you're not necessarily getting the point production, like you could still be playing good, but I feel like he's not making an impact on the game like he can. It's funny because I feel like Panarin hasn't been like over the top, like dynamic game changer, kind of like he was last year, but he's still like a point per game player right now. Like he just has like 3 points a game, even on nights when he's not even playing that well, which just goes to show you how filthy he is.
Yeah. You want to know who's got more points than Zibanejad right now?
Yeah. Phil DiGiuseppe does. I know that as a fact.
And Colin Blackwell.
Yep. Yeah.
Makes you think.
I'm not shocked. Listen, DiGiuseppe is like top 3 in points. I think he has like, he has a good amount of points, doesn't he? He's like 7 points or 8.
He's got 5. He's got 5.
Oh, wow.
4th on the team now. 4th on the team.
I almost had that. Almost. But Panarin's leading the team in points. Correct.
Yeah. He's got 12. And speaking of
12.
Speaking of Panarin, that was his 400th NHL game last night, and he I forgot to take note of the stat line, but he's got like 427 points his first 400 games, which
he's like
that's crazy.
Yeah,
well, he was a rookie in the NHL at like 24, but yeah,
that's true.
Pretty good.
That's true.
Yeah, I think Kaprizov did the same thing.
Shades, are you referring to the trivia question that they asked about the 400 points in less than 400 games?
Well, not specifically, but technically, yes.
I was gonna say he was like one of 4 players, and the other 3 were it was Malkin, Ovechkin, Crosby, and
McDavid.
Panarin, and also McDavid. Yeah. Well, McDavid hasn't even played 400 games, but he still has.
It just feels like he has because he scored a shit ton of highlight goals.
Yeah, but he also like missed basically an entire season, McDavid.
So, yeah, and he's still he's still the best player in the league.
Yeah,
he just
broke
nuts.
I think it was like broke his collarbone that time.
He's all right.
What was that? Did one of your phones just vibrate?
It's probably my headphones. I think my headphones are dying.
Bro,
my headphones are dying.
Bro, that half sounded like a phone buzzing or vibrating, and it half sounded like a duck. Did you hear that?
My headphones are dying.
It half sounded like a duck. That was
my headphones are dying, boys.
The quack whistle from Mighty Ducks.
But boys.
Last bit of positive information, dude. Brendan Lemieux looking like Dan Girardi out there. He had a couple major shot blocks there.
That is really true. He is Lamardi or whatever we were calling him, Larardi. Dude, yeah, he's been a beast. I actually have enjoyed watching him play.
Oh, that was
play
bad.
a lot this year.
That was bad.
Yeah, he's had some monster.
I wonder how it's gonna. I wonder how the Tony not be on the team is gonna affect him and Stone, because they're like fucking best friends, like all 3 of them. It's gonna be weird. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll take last night as a character win. I think a lot of people are saying that as like kind of like a character win to go out there and play. And honestly, I thought we really didn't even look
Sure.
that good through the first 2 periods. We were kind of pretty brutal for the most part. And we ended up scoring the power play goal, right? I think it was Kreider, deflection in front.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I honestly thought watching the game last night, the first 2 periods, that, wow, we're going to lose this one big time because we don't look good. But yeah, it was a nice win.
Sure.
Yeah,
Miller came up big.
I remember Sam Rosen specifically saying they've scored only 2 third period goals the entire season so far. And you guys remember last year we were one of the best third period teams scoring wise.
Yeah.
So that was a little shocking.
I would
to
say
see,
like, I don't know if this adds to like the, like maybe some mishaps that we've had in the last little while, but I feel like we really gotta, not that I don't mind the goaltender rotation thing, but I just feel like, I think we gotta just really admit that Shesty is the number 1 goalie. Like, I'm not even talking down on Gorgiev right now, but I just feel like that needs to be out there. Like, we're hearing a lot of talk about like even making the Rangers have, giving us a captain now, like after all that or whatever. I just feel like that also needs to be established aside from the captain thing. Like, I think it's clear to me that Shesterkin's the number 1 goalie, and I don't know if that's going to help confidence wise or anything like that, but like, I just feel like that needs to just be out there. Like, I know they weren't saying it, but like, come on, we all know it. And it's just like, I don't even know why why that was a thing, but.
Oh, I forgot to mention.
You better
one
not
thing.
talk down Georgiev.
He might put me in a headlock.
Oh,
yeah, beat me to it.
He might punch you first, then put you in a headlock. But I forgot to mention Chris Kreider. He moved into, I think, third. He moved into second all time with U.S.-born players in points for the Rangers. He passed Mark Pavlik, and I know he tied Cecil Dillon. Did he move into second? I
Who leads that category, Shades? It's probably something pretty obvious.
Brian Leach.
Yeah, Leach. Duh. That's why I was saying who leads it, and I knew it was obvious.
Is he good?
Yeah. Kreider officially moved into second.
Ever heard of him?
You said Kreider moved in. I thought he moved to like a new house or apartment. I was like, how do you know?
He moved in.
Who shares
in with Leach? He moved in with Leach.
Yeah.
They just get hammered every night now.
All right, I think that's all the thoughts we have on the past 4 Ranger games, and let's preview the next couple real quick. So we got arguably the hardest stretch of the schedule coming up, because we play Washington, Boston, and Philly 3 times, and we play the Islanders again, who we have not played well against the last few years. And I think Boston, Philly, and Washington have proven that they're the top 3 teams in the division. So I just want to put this out there. If the Rangers have looked this bad against the teams that are not at the top of the division, there's a very realistic chance things could get worse. Not to be a pessimist, I'm trying to be real here. What do you guys think about that?
Honestly, I feel like, I hope it's the case that we're just playing down to these teams, and maybe we'll play up to those teams when we play them. That's a possibility. But I think if we're still decimated by these injuries, and we forgot to mention before with Kako on the COVID-19 protocol, but if he's out, and which who knows, but we probably won't have Hedel back. Hopefully we have Blackwell back, but we're not sure what's going to happen with Smith. He's going to be evaluated. It should be interesting, Shades, but we'll see what happens, because right now we don't know, anything could happen with these lineups. So I'm assuming by the time we play Boston, is Pastrnak back already? He's coming back.
Yeah.
Hopefully not against the Rangers. He's back already.
Yeah, so we're done.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I agree, Shades, but I'm hoping in this stretch we get some consistent goaltending that could also make it more competitive. But that's what I hope, but we'll see. But I hope we just play up to these teams, because I feel like we've been kind of playing down to some of them.
Yeah, the carousel of goaltending, that's going to be a story to keep an eye on in the near future. Woj, you got any thoughts on these games?
Yeah, like Brendan said, hopefully they're just playing down. They just need like a wake up call to play a lot better against some of these teams. But I don't know how soon after they get the DeAngelo deal done, and I don't know if there's any shot that we get anything good out of it, other than like a few picks or like we're probably gonna take on a bad contract. I don't know what they're gonna want to do. But we're gonna need someone to step up big time for these next few games. So offense has to be there. We've gotten some goals here and there. We had a 5-4 game the one night. We had scored three last night. But
Yeah, a
some
lot
of
of
those
one
goals
goal
were
losses.
a lot of one goal losses. A lot of like cheap goals down low, like dirty area ones, like Rooney's the other night. But they got to look like they're going to be more alive, hopefully, against some of these teams. And if they're not, they're in for a rude awakening.
Oh, I also forgot to mention before, Panarin's goal came with less than 1 second left, empty netter, just to stick it to them.
Meanwhile, after he tried to force a pass too on top of it, and he's like, "Oh fuck it, I still want the points. I'm just gonna rip one right before the end."
Hey, you might as well end your 400th NHL game in style, right?
It's true.
So,
Shades, this should be interesting. We'll see what happens with the schedule too, because obviously the Devils now with COVID, and now the Islanders game tonight was postponed. So I don't know what's going to actually happen with the schedule. Hopefully no games postponed, but
no
we'll
more
see what
games
happens. I
postponed,
guess.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, Woj, got any last thoughts?
No, I don't have any. It's been a rough week, but hopefully not weekend. I don't know. They'll probably lose the next like 4 or 5 games. Maybe Quinn's out of here. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
That's my take. I mean, if you keep losing these games, like I don't know how you stay. How many wins they have? 3, 4?
I think. Well,
2,
yeah, 3.
So if you go 3 in the next 3 games, what are they 3
2
9?
overtime losses.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look good. But hopefully we do win a few games, but probably won't.
All right, so let's just make a quick prediction here. Does DeAngelo get traded or bought out at the end of the season?
Traded. There's no way they buy him out.
Brendan, what do you think is gonna happen?
I hope we trade him just so we don't have to. Just so like he's not wasting away, and we're paying him.
I'm gonna be bold here and predict that no team trades for him, and he gets bought out at the end of the season. Just to disagree with you two.
Okay, good.
I'll play devil's advocate here.
If you're a GM, like no matter what he does, if like they're willing to retain the salary and they'll give us like a 7th round pick, I don't know how you don't do it if like that's the least option.
Yeah. If that's literally the best offer they get, they kind of have to take it at that point.
Yeah.
But there was one other thing I wanted to bring up that I can't remember right now. Oh yeah, that also brings up the question: who is the third defenseman? This is a way too early prediction, but it has to be brought up. Who is the third defenseman outside of Trouba and Lindgren that gets protected in the Seattle expansion draft? That's another question that's going to have to be solved or answered by the time June or whenever the expansion draft comes around.
Can't they go like 11 forwards? So like whatever it is, can't they?
It's either I think it's 8 skaters or 7 forwards, 3 defensemen.
Oh.
Yeah. So who knows? It could be Boteto, it could be Hayek. Now that opens up a question though. But let's see how the season plays out before we circle back to this a couple months from now. But yeah, I think that's all we got, right? All right, thank you. Until next time is right. Thank you everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed a drink or a sip, whatever you did, of a brew you enjoy or your favorite brew, whichever it may be, during this episode of Pucks and Brews. We will be back on Friday, February 12th with episode 4. Follow us on Twitter at Pucks and Brews, Pucks E and Brews. We're working on it. We're trying to get the name changed, but follow us on Instagram at Pucks and Brews Pod, spelled normally. Follow us on our Facebook page at Pucks and Brews, also spelled normally. And like I said, we will see you on February 12th on Friday. Going to record Thursday on the 11th, and let's hope the Rangers don't get absolutely blown out these next 3 games, because like we said, the game against the Devils is most likely postponed. So any final thoughts before I end this, gentlemen?
Let's go Rangers.
Yeah, let's go Rangers. I'll also be writing my name next to some of the tweets so people can differentiate between me and you.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Talk to everybody later.